Mike, talking Penn State football after a disappointing loss to Michigan State, what were your takeaways from the loss to the Spartans?
I thought the Michigan State game, in a lot of ways, typified the season. The defense tried to hold them in it. Offense, a lot of issues. It really was a pretty, really undramatic game. I thought the one positive that you would not have expected is I thought Christian Hackenberg stopped his slide a little bit. I thought he played a little better than his numbers and a little better than he has for the last month or so.
Some receivers, some drops and balls that
no question.
Probably should have caught. He had some good placements too.
Yep.
You have a story coming out Sunday in L&P with grades for the different positions, but I'd like to get a broad stroke or an overview of what we're going to see in Sunday's paper.
Well, I think this is not exactly a scoop, but I mean, there was this huge disparity in every way between the offense and the defense. In terms of X's and O's, the defense is doing all this sort of state-of-the-art, complicated stuff, and player development. Development of depth, development of freshmen, fundamental soundness, mental errors, all of that stuff. The defense was so much better than the offense that you really have to give enormous credit to the coordinator, I think Bob Shoop, and that's sort of the big takeaway. And that made Penn State a frustrating and unentertaining team to watch. If you think, I sort of think their defense was kind of a 9 on a scale of 10, and their offense was a 1 or a 2. Well, if they'd have both been a 5 or a 6, they might not have been a better team, but they would have been a little bit more watchable, I think.
Now, from what you're saying there, was that a question or a matter of youth, inexperience out there? Penn State was some say the youngest team in major college football this year.
Yeah.
Or was it play calling? Or is it all of the above? Where does this fall?
Yeah, I think it was all of the above, and I think the offensive coaches get a substantial amount of the blame because they clearly didn't get better as the year went on, and B, I think there are some legitimate questions about fitting the system to the talent rather than the other way around. Now, I'm going to give them a little – you have to leaven all of that with their offensive line was horrible, and it's hard to game plan and play call and scheme on offense if you can't block anybody.
Yet they did get some guys back in there, and they had some veterans on the one side and still didn't look that good down the stretch.
Right.
What is the general vision that you see from Franklin going forward?
Well, I kind of stumbled upon this last week in our chat with the readers. I wonder if there's no question that he's upgraded the athleticism and the speed on the roster, and that's going to continue going forward with the next recruiting class and the one after that. I don't think there's any question about it, and you saw it in the young secondary, for example. It was the best example of that. You have not seen it in the offensive line, however, and that is at least a couple of years away, I think. But anyway, my point is, I think they're improving the overall athleticism and the speed in the program. And I think maybe you could, whether Franklin consciously is thinking in these terms or not, it's almost a vision of a couple of years down the road being a Big Ten version of LSU, for example. They're not going to X and O anybody. They're not going to be. It's not Chip Kelly or Bill O'Brien, but a lot of defense, good special teams, a lot of athletes, a lot of speed, and winning in that way, which I think a lot of people would be okay with that if 5 years from now that's what they are.
That could be an entertaining brand of football.
Yes.